Hello and welcome to my third whisky review video. As you can see, I'm on Islay this weekend and I thought it'd be quite nice to start my next review in front of the Portnahaven harbour. So the whisky that I'm reviewing today is of course from the Island of Dreams. It's by Islay's youngest distillery currently, Kilchoman. So it is the Sanaig release. I have a little dram of it just here. But I'd like to take you up to the old school in Portnahaven and we'll review the whisky up there. So if you'd like to just come with me, we'll go up and try this next dram. Welcome on in. So here we are inside Old School Islay, which is the old school in Portnahaven. It's no longer a school anymore, it's now been renovated into a sort of holiday letting, and this is the venue that we host our Fagile tastings, so we'll be back here in May 2017. But on to the review. So as I said, it's the Kilchoman Sanaig, which I got a little dram of this evening. So here's the bottle just here. The name Sanaig, a rocky outlet which is on the sort of northwest coast of the distillery. The whisky itself is a marriage between both the American bourbon casks and the sherry casks. I'd say the first thing I noticed is the sort of striking difference in colour between the Sanaig and their Machier Bay, which is the other core range release that they have. It's their sort of front runner, probably the most well known that they've produced. But because it is bourbon matured, it's very, very pale. This has got a darker hue to it. It's still not that old, only a marriage of 4 and 5 year old casks, and it's bottled at 46%. So let us have a little taste. I would say on the nose there, the first thing that hits you is that unmistakable peat smoke. Behind it there is a subtle sweetness. It's reminding me of sort of stewed, sort of sticky fruits, maybe even a sort of chocolatey note, but really your nose is having to work quite hard to get those flavours. It's really quite subtle in comparison to the smoke, which is prevalent. The first thing I would say is surprisingly smooth for such a young whisky. At the very beginning there is a sweetness that comes through, and it's really quite sugary sweet, almost sort of toffee caramel taste, but then you get that blast of peat smoke which kind of builds and brings a hotness to the mouth. As it dies away, you're getting that sweetness coming through a little bit stronger. Toffee, caramel sort of note. And then behind that, even further, there's a sort of peppery spiciness. So leading into the finish. I would say you've got that lingering balance of peat smoke with some subtle sweetness. It's certainly got a very coastal feel to it, and it's quite an earthy peat. You can really feel the peat at the end as well. So we'll try it with a little bit of water. At 46%, it probably doesn't need too much water, but we'll see how the water changes it. I would say, honestly, on the nose, to me the water hasn't changed it significantly. I think with the peat smoke being so strong, the water hasn't dulled it in any way. So really for me, I'm not noticing much change on the nose there. This time, the sweetness is a little bit stronger. The peat smoke maybe reduced slightly, and not so much of that hotness. Slightly milder is what I would say, but as it's dying away, we're still getting that peat smoke. The intensity is still there. and it really leaves you with quite an earthy taste at the very end, is what I would say. Overall, I think it's a fine dram, and for its age, it's exceptional. It really has matured older than its years. You know, to think this is only four or 5 years old is really astonishing. So yeah, I think it's a really good whisky from Kilchoman. In terms of a score, I'm going to give it 72 out of 100. I landed on this score because it's a good whisky. It's certainly one that I would use, and I have used for tastings. I think it's a really nice one to present to people. There's a good story behind it. Maybe lost a few points simply because it is quite expensive, between sort of £52 up to 60, even I've seen it £70, depending on the retailer. So it's quite a lot. However, I do think it's a very good whisky. Well, thank you for joining me for this tasting here on Islay, and I'll see you for the next whisky review. Slainte.